Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Council. Happy New Year. I hope you all had a great holiday and are keeping well. I'm super excited to moderate my first podcast for the Council. We're going to have a blast tonight. Tonight, my fellow film fanatics and I will be talking all things movies. I'm joined by our excellent host, Natalia.
Hello, everyone.
Yousef.
Hi.
Liam.
Bonjour.
Ben.
Hi there.
Joseph.
Hey guys.
And Antony.
Hello, everyone.
With our special guest, Freencky. Hello, Freencky.
Hi, everyone. Happy New Year.
Yay. Okay, and we'll be reviewing today Wonder Woman 1984, Soul, and The Mandalorian Season 2. I'll then proceed to hand it over to Freencky, where we'll discuss each of our three most anticipated movies for 2021. Well, so far. And to finish it off for today, we'll play a little MCU speed trivia game. It's going to be quite some fun. So without further ado, we're going to start. And we'll talk about Wonder Woman 1984. First of all, I'd like to say that you're going to hear a lot of good and bad things from each of us. We'll try to stay positive. That's what I'm going to try. Okay, so first of all, I'll start with the good. I actually like Kristen Wiig's performance. Her seriousness and believability, that was good. I mean, I liked her Wonder Woman fight in the White House. I think that was cool. Max took me a while to understand him, but I quite liked the idea of him being overwhelmed with all the wishes. The idea of those wishes causing chaos in the world, I thought that was quite clever to show that not everyone can, live out their dreams together. The CGI for me, I think it was good. I mean, apart from her running scene at the street, I think the CGI was quite good for me. I think the renouncing of the wishes, that was quite sweet. Now, I would have to say, as like a type of bad thing, that it was quite slow for me. I think they had moments where they could cut it a little, especially in the first hour, and make it to the point rather. The overall character of Max, for me, wasn't strong enough to warrant him being the villain for the second movie. His son, I don't know what the point of him, to be honest, was, until the very end, until he hugged him. But I didn't get that emotional response that I think Patty Jenkins and DC were trying to get from us. I feel like it was more of a side quest than a main mission like we got in Wonder Woman 1980, the first Wonder Woman. And I think the third act, to a degree, was quite boring. Mainly because there weren't much action in it, but I just feel like it kind of fell flat a little for me. The biggest problem, however, was when they were in Egypt and the terrorist angle. I think that was quite troublesome. Overall, I was quite disappointed, but to be nice to DC, all around, I think the sentiment and the message that they portrayed was all right for me. So I'll hand it over to Yousef for his general review.
Okay. I didn't like it. Sorry. I'm kind of sick of talking about this movie. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm just so tired of like trying to defend why I don't like the movie because people can't seem to comprehend that it's not good. So Natalia has a whole like paper on why it's not good. So I'm gonna pass it over to her and I'm just gonna agree with everything she says until I don't, and then I'll jump in. So yeah, Nat, go.
By that you mean me talking about how racist this movie is for 2 days?
Yep.
Sweet. Okay.
Go.
So, I did write something. Look. Oh shit! You can't see it. Look at all these words. Look at me go. Okay. So I'm just gonna read it out loud. I think she, Jenkins, was looking at the Egypt side quest action scene from a point of white feminism where Diana is just being a bad bitch and doing like some punchy punch, and failed to realize the socio-political Israeli-Palestinian conflicts that like very much swirl around Gal. I can also see the lack of focus on historically accurate tensions between the Soviet Unions and the US instead of what the film did, which was Arab world and the US, from a very loose plot thread where we first get the magazine introduction of an oil tycoon who just so happens to be an Arab man. And even with that, from there we get to see the vilification of Arab people. It then gets poured on even more by having our side quest to Egypt and then making every single Arab person a caricature. I personally am quite fascinated by the lack of Soviet conversation because Patty Jenkins is just inserting Islamophobia in the film by having us be more focused on an Arab conflict rather than something that is more historically accurate, i.e. the Soviet Union. Thank you. That is one of my many. I've been yelling about how racist this film is for like a week now. And it's difficult for me to even say if I like it because I like some of the soft moments and those are very good, but I can't excuse that shouldn't even have been there. Like there was no reason. I can totally see how we could have gotten there, but it could have been done so much better. And like, not in a racist way. I just, ugh. And the kid, when she's saving the kids, it's just so, there's a lot of tone deafness going around. It was just gross. But yeah, Steve Trevor, best boy. Bye.
But on that kid thing, isn't that something that actually happened?
Yes.
That actually happened. Army killed kids.
In 2014, there were kids in, oh God, I can't remember where, but I do believe it was Gaza, who were playing soccer and then some missiles and then they died. Well, funny how that works out. Ugh, God, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you said. I think the movie, and what's so frustrating is that people like aren't seeing the problem with it. They're making a big deal about everything else. And when, say, you brought this up, people are like, oh, but people know it's fake and people know it's just a movie and blah, blah, blah. But that's not how that works. If a culture is continuously depicted in a certain way, movies in Hollywood have a lot of power on how people perceive things, so if the news and movies and TV shows all depict people as like, when they have one wish to wish for more weapons or whatever that guy wished for, it's not the best. And it didn't need to be there. The movie's 2 hours and 30 minutes. That's one of my problems with the movie. It's way too long. That could have been cut. It had no reason to be there. I felt bad for the actor playing the tycoon because he's from Rami, his Amr Wakid. I was so excited to see him, and then I was like, oh, he was kind of useless in the movie. But yeah, the movie was just too long. It was horribly written, and it's not, just online sucks. I hate talking about this movie online so much. Yes, Nat?
One of the things that I did like about it is, Ben will light up when I say this, is that this movie is incredibly anti-capitalist and anti-consumerism. And that was so beautiful, much sexy, still racist.
Yeah, the movie isn't like horrible, but I hate it even more. Like, I hate it so much more having people who like the movie tell me why I'm wrong and why, I'm misogynistic and anti-DC and how it's a conspiracy, and doing 7 tweets in a day about how it's good and then doing a video about why it's all about Ryan Johnson and how it's the same thing when it's not. It just really pissed me off. You know what I mean? So yeah, Liam, why don't you go with your opinions on Wonder Woman?
How do obviously everything that Natalia and Yousef has said is bad. Bad Patty Jenkins. But as I tried to point out, it's more annoying than discussing it. Because as Yousef said, it's the fact that you can have a problem, you can point out the problem, but rather than someone come back here and say, oh, actually, you know what, I get that, but this is why I liked it. It's like, well, no, you're wrong. That's not a problem. You're wrong. Well, no, that's not how the world works. Unfortunately, get the fuck over yourself. Like Natalia was arguing with someone, and he was like, "No, well, it's not racist. It's not racist." And he's like, "I don't see it as racist." And it's like, right, well, you're a white person, so you've got no reason to fucking speak on it. And then, so I just commented saying, like, the intention might not be racist, but the action is. You might not see it that way, but if someone who is of that ethnicity or within the boundaries of that ethnicity is saying, you know what, I've seen this is a problem, we should be listening. We shouldn't be telling that person, no, you're wrong. And that's all I have seen online since this movie came out, is fans attack people who have problems and say that they're haters.
But it's a little different because it's not just a fan. Like with Birds of Prey, right? Birds of Prey was legitimately fans being like, you're wrong. But this one is the critics. Like I've seen critics online, not to name any names, and it's not the person we're thinking of, but who say, oh, ranking the DC movies and it's Wonder Woman's last, but then saying, oh, why is Wonder Woman being hated on? It's so good. It's, it's anti-woman, anti-DC. And it's like, where is this coming from?
But it was second to third last on their list. I know
exactly.
Like, know exactly which person you're talking about.
Like it's just a lot of hypocrisy that I don't understand.
But yeah, that's my thoughts. Who's next?
Thanks, Liam. That'll be Ben for now. What do you think,
Ben? It would be me. Everything that Natalia and Yousef said, I 110% agree with. Oh no! Leave it. It's fine. Just a box fell on my head. It's fine. What I'm thinking,
Jenkins.
It was that. I swear to God, Patty. Because look, I'm a big Wonder Woman fan, okay? But the first thing I have in my notes is that I am so disappointed. I'm soul crushed that I have to say this film is aggressively mediocre. When it comes to the positives, Kristen Wiig and Gal Gadot are very good, and I wish the film was more about them than Pedro Pascal and Chris Pine. I did not like them at all. I just preferred their performances, especially Kristen Wiig. That moment with her jogging, you know the scene I'm talking about if you've seen the film. Very, very, very good. I wish you could have gotten more of that. And more Cheetah, naturally. When it comes to positives, that's pretty much it. I'd say horrible script, like truly god-awful. I have zero expectations for Shang-Chi after this. Like zero. This guy cannot write. Let's hope it's more Jeff Johns, Patty Jenkins' fault than this guy's fault, because, he's written a lot of upcoming movies that we all kind of want to be good.
Spider-Man 3.
As I said, yeah, Spider-Verse, I'm so scared. But, we have the original creative team. We know it's not going to be too bad. As I said, Maxwell Lord, Steve Trevor, did not like them. Handsome Man, that poor guy was raped. And Patty Jenkins tried to justify it online as commentary on the body swap genre. You just didn't think it through, Patty.
It's still rape, Patricia.
Oh, yeah. That poor man. It's disgusting, truly. But after that, all I have to say is that it's generic, boring, and visually ugly. So it's basically just an MCU movie. And I hate that.
Can I ask you a question just real quick?
Yeah.
So on December 17th, you tweeted.
Oh my God, you little bastard. I have this up on my phone, and I was just about to say, can I just cut in and read this?
Yeah, I justified this many times.
It was so worth the wait. I couldn't be happier. What happened?
I know. I've talked about that as well, about how from my first viewing to my second viewing, my thoughts have drastically changed. And it really hurts. It hurts so bad because I saw it in IMAX the first time. I haven't been to IMAX in months. And I suppose getting back to it and seeing this film I've been waiting for so long, it did kind of have, I suppose, like a rose-colored glasses type thing. Like, you know, when some of these premiere movies come out and like critics get to go to the premiere and they interview the cast and then they give a great review, you know, they're not 100% telling the truth. Like with Mission Impossible 4, all the critics got to go out to, got flown out to the country where the film was shot. They got to see the movie there.
Dubai.
Yeah, they got flown out to Dubai. And then, you know, they obviously got naturally very good reviews when it's only an okay movie. For me, going back to IMAX to see Wonder Woman was such an experience. I don't think I could have been let down. But when I saw it for the second time, holy shit. I have no words as to how laughable this film is. I feel bad for Gal Gadot and I feel bad for Kristen Wiig for being wasted. And I feel bad for all of the Wonder Woman fans who are kidding themselves into liking this movie. That's
Shall
it.
we'll play Guess the Tweet. Thank you to Patty Jenkins for making an all-time great one. And a fabulous sequel. Gal Gadot is #Wonder Woman and always will be.
That is true.
Phenomenal performance. As a DC fan, sorry, as a #DC fan, I was blown away. This film lives and breathes DC.
Not necessarily false.
If you cut this film, it would bleed with DC greatness.
I agree with that.
So worth it, the wait. I couldn't be happier.
Anymore.
So at Grace Randall,
I'm not happy
here's
anymore,
my
Liam.
submission for the #ticket montage.
I know. And believe me, it is very sad to admit.
What happened to you?
Patty Jenkins' horrible directing broke me. That's all I have to say.
You knew she directed it.
I know. Yeah.
The nerve to thank her for it.
Anyway, you just sit on that, and then we'll go to Antony, who should defend this film right about now.
Why, Anthony? Why?
Well, okay. I'm not going to 100% defend the movie because I defer to my other council members who can speak more about the Egypt sequence and a lot of those things because I just personally can't speak to that. It wouldn't offend me because it's, you know, I'm just not the right person to talk about that, and I understand where they're coming from. I see what they're saying, and they're right. I think, I forget who said it, but I do think, maybe it was Natalia, that it wasn't intentional, but it still was a mistake. I think that is a fair point to make. In the end, I've seen the film twice. I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it for what I think that in the end, the problem is that I think Patty Jenkins and company could have done a lot better if they just fixed a couple of these choices. I feel like a lot of the movie is there. I think, you know, Maxwell Lord is a different type of villain than we've gotten in a lot of comic book superhero movies. I feel like the cast across the board is strong. Gal Gadot, I think I loved her. What? The cast is strong?
I mean, am I the only one who thought the cast was awful apart from Pedro Pascal? I mean, the acting
Pedro Pascal was the worst.
I hated Pedro.
No.
Pedro, it took me a while. I didn't like
Pedro. Okay, wait.
Especially
I want to talk
Gal
about
and
Pedro.
Kristen. I mean,
nah,
Gal and Kristen were awful.
No way.
Yes, they were.
I was really sad because Pedro
No.
Pascal is kind of having a moment, like with Mandalorian and stuff. So I was kind of happy that he was in the movie, but then I was also really upset because he was really horrible. For me, Kristen Wiig is a standout. I love her.
I thought Kristen Wiig was a standout as well. I thought she was extremely camp.
I want to talk about Pedro.
Well, you can talk about Pedro in a while.
Okay.
We'll talk about it after Freencky.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. So just I found the cast strong. I think they did a great job with the material they were given. I found them charismatic, and I found them, you know, evoking the type of classic comic book films that I think Patty Jenkins was obviously inspired by. You know, the fireworks sequence did remind me of the Richard Donner Superman, and when she learns to fly, that also, it had that inspirational quality that I feel like we don't get as often in the superhero genre. And I enjoyed that. I recognized what she was doing and that it was like she was making an 80s movie. And I feel like that kind of surprised people, and that's not what they wanted, especially
but
after
all
the
our
first
inspirations were 70s movies.
well, I believe Superman 2 was 1980, maybe. Somebody can fact check me on that. And they were
Actually, I
made
think
at
you're
the same
right,
time.
because Superman, the movie came out in 1978. So it
78
has to
and
be.
and 2 was 80. In the
Yeah.
end, it's around
And
that
the
time.
Linda Carter was also the 70s as well.
Yeah. But
And Heaven Can Wait.
Still, it doesn't matter in the end. It's inspired by that era. You know, you weren't getting. If it matters to you, that's fine. I didn't care.
It's lazy
It
writing,
felt
is all
that.
it is.
Hey, I didn't interrupt you guys. Let me get my piece out, and then you can debate me. It's not like we're gonna change each other's minds. God, the earth will end before that happens. But in the end, I found it. You know, yes, it needed way more action. I think it really does drag. The fact that after the opening sequence, the next action scene is an hour and 20 minutes in the movie is a problem. I think that there was a little bit too much trust in the creative team, which again, I'm not necessarily against all the time, but I do think there was sort of a blind trust because of the success of the first Wonder Woman. And I think that in the end gave us a movie that again has a lot of interesting ideas, but then just weren't executed properly. Like I love Wonder Woman's speech at the end. I think it's a powerful moment, that one that I don't think you can see in a lot of other superhero movies. But then the flip side of that is like, there's no way in hell all 7 billion people on this planet would renounce their wishes. It's just not going to happen. So I feel like that's in the end where I stand, is I think that there's a lot that works with the movie. I think Hans Zimmer's score was pretty good. I think he's always, you know, whether it's Amazing Spider-Man 2 or like The Dark Phoenix, he always takes movies that maybe sometimes don't work as well as they should, and he always elevates the material. I thought he did a great job. I think the action that was here, it was fine. I didn't mind it. It was passable, and it was watching it at home. I was like, okay, this is fun. And again, I like the performances and I like the themes of the movie. I just think that it needed a lot more focus. I think it needed to just focus up, reflect on these things more, make it shorter, as Yousef said. So yeah, in the end, if I'm coming down on it, I would give it a fresh tomato. It would be a 6 out of 10 for me, just barely. Because in the end, I do think that, I keep saying in the end, I do think that even though she didn't succeed as well, I see what Patty Jenkins was trying to do in the most part, and I respect that she at least tried. I rather see this than somebody who's just like, oh, we'll throw some action and yeah, it was a superhero thing. Like, I give her credit that she at least tried something different than just a generic superhero movie. If it ended up being that for some people, I understand. But for me, a movie that ends with the superheroes speaking these universal truths, I don't see that in every superhero movie. So I'm going to give it a little bit more credit than I think some other people might.
Anthony, I have two things for you right there.
Sure.
One,
Go.
Dark Phoenix score, one of the top 10 superhero scores for me. Hans Zimmer did a great job. But secondly, you say that, we never got this sense of wonder and amazing callbacks from films. I know what you meant, but what I'm saying is that we got that in the first Wonder Woman. Like, it was far more effective in that film. This film, it felt way too forced, way too cheesy, and the visuals putting them across were just horrible.
Yeah, let me just respond to that quickly, and then we can get on to the next panelist. I understand that some people do think it's cheesy, and I get it, because the first Wonder Woman was so incredibly successful for doing something very different. It did remind me, while I was watching it, of and I like these two movies, but the distance between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker tonally. It felt like it was a different filmmaker, which is odd because Patty Jenkins was at the helm of both. But in the end, I found it enjoyable for what it was, even if it was paced poorly. I guess I just enjoy that DC world. I enjoy those characters, and so they were enough to get me through the movie. And in the end, spoiler alert, the special cameo at the end, like, that was just such a nice moment, and I see the reverence that Patty Jenkins has for this character and the mythology, that I can't fault her for loving Wonder Woman. And you can clearly see that she loves Wonder Woman, as do Gal Gadot, and I think a lot of people on the creative team. So I'll pass it on to Yousef, who I don't know where he stands.
Actually, I didn't see it. For my Christmas, I spent my time watching the other film we're going to review later on, So
Yeah.
I don't have my.
You
I don't
didn't
have
miss
any thoughts.
anything.
Yeah, you
But
didn't miss anything.
when the way
Um,
Ben mentioned it, saying it's an MCU film, means I'll probably like it.
Thank you, Joseph. Now we will turn to Frankie, and this should be good.
Can I just say
Okay,
before you
I'm-
start, I have a pen and
Yeah.
paper ready. I'm gonna destroy you. Okay, go.
I'm terrified right now because I know that I will get murdered by you guys. But I think I have a lot of the same opinions as Antony does. I know that the movie has problems in terms of its appeal for superhero movie fans, and also the racism. I didn't notice that when I first watched the movie, and it was then when I went to Twitter and Natalia, she explained it to me, and then that's when I realized that, oh yeah, it is in the film. And I don't think that was Patty's intention, but it is still a problem that it is there. And it is true that I do agree with Natalia that they should have focused more on the things that were actually happening during that time, which was with the Russians and the Cold War and all that stuff. But I do really like some of the creative decisions that Patty made. I think that we talked about how I had read a lot of articles and I've seen a lot of interviews of her and other people discussing the movie. So I was very prepared in what I was going to see before I saw the movie. And I knew that she was doing it as an homage to the late 1970 TV show with Linda Carter, and she was also using inspirations from the Superman from Richard Donner. And yes, that was all in the late 1970s. But for me, I took this as a continuation of that, and how she was continuing the story and continuing the story of Wonder Woman in that time. So that's kind of how I saw it. I'm just going through my notes. So I do think that it was a mistake giving her complete and full control, because obviously it didn't work. And I think that she probably just thought that this was going to be this was probably more like her passion project instead of a movie for the fans and for the audience. I feel like she did it more for her and to satisfy her. I mean, she was born in 1971, so she probably grew up with all these films, with the Linda Carter TV show, and she probably grew up with the Superman, the Richard Donner the Richard Donner movie. And so she probably took that inspiration from when she was a kid and she grew up with these movies and decided to make this film, which pays homage to that. Was it the best decision? Probably not, because as we can see, a lot of the fans are angry. And I while in Twitter and seeing everyone's response to the movie, I do respect everyone's opinion of how they feel about the movie, because we've been waiting for so long for this movie, and we've had so much high expectations from the first Wonder Woman, which was incredible. And I think she changed the tone of the movie, and she changed the character itself. I really did enjoy the movie, but going forward, I want to go back to Warrior Wonder Woman, which I think we will see in the Justice League this year. So I do agree with a lot of the criticism, but I really enjoyed this film. I really did enjoy it. Does it have problems? Yes. But I'm excited for the future. I think that's what makes me excited for the future, and to see where it goes from now. And I think I do want Warrior Wonder Woman back. I don't want to see this version of Wonder Woman again. Just because it's like a side mission, which maybe is a mistake as well. But I guess that's when you give that's what happens when you give someone complete creative control. And I did agree with what Antony said about it's not your typical superhero film. And I think that's what I kind of what I really liked about the film, that it wasn't the typical superhero film. It wasn't a generic superhero film. So yeah, I think those are my thoughts. Shoot.
No, that was great. Thank you, Frankie. I would have to say that, after hearing all of it, it was quite disappointing. But it is redeemable at some parts. But I'll give it to Yousef to see what he's written down.
Okay. So I have a couple of things written down. Number one, a lot of the argument that's coming from people who liked the movie against people who didn't is saying, "Oh, all you want is more action." Everybody's saying that. That's not. I don't like. Maybe some people do, but I feel like that's more the people who liked it projecting their own opinions onto us. I don't want more action. I know Patty Jenkins can't pull it off, and I don't need to sit there and waste 30 more minutes of my life, right? I think the problem with this movie
Yousef?
is that, yes.
Well, she
Can
did
I
No
ask you a
Man's
question?
Land.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, can I ask No Man's Land? You don't like that action sequence?
The
Oh,
Wonder
no.
Woman one?
It's not really
And
an action sequence.
It's not an
The-
action sequence, and it's
I'm-
fine, but I don't
Hang on.
need.
The
Yes.
No Man's Land sequence starts on No Man's Land, but then is the siege of that city. That is an
Okay.
action sequence.
Yeah,
Do you not like
Antony,
that
but-
action sequence?
Anthony,
That's-
it's one of my
see,
favorite scenes in superhero history, but it works because of Snyder's stunt team. That they weren't
Okay.
around this time.
Snyder's stunt team or not Snyder's
Alright.
stunt team, I don't give a shit, right? You cut parts of the movie and you automatically, more of the movie is action because you cut out the boring shit that we don't need, right? It's like so simple. I don't need more to add to the runtime. I don't need her to film more. I need a lot of stuff cut out. I would have gone with my red pen and just been like, cut this, cut this, cut this. It is way too long. There's like 3 underdeveloped movies in here that she just barfed out. Like, we don't need 2 villains that suck, right? I don't need Cheetah and Maxwell Lord. I don't understand why I need that. That's number 1. Number 2, somebody brought up Ed Boon, I think, today on Twitter about, so did Barbara get 2 wishes? And people were like, no, whatever. They didn't make that clear, right? Like, they needed better writing to make that clear. So that's another example.
Can I just say though, I don't think it's that they didn't make it clear. I think it's very obvious. She gets her wish. Then when they're sitting on the plane, he turns around and says, "What do you want?" And she says, "I want to be an apex predator." And
Yeah.
he says, "I'll get that for you." It's not a second wish. It doesn't need to be explained more. I think if people
Yeah.
just paid a little bit more attention,
But
things
it
like
you
that
can't,
would have been
yes, but you
understood
can't
more.
blame a large majority of your audience, because looking at
You
the
can.
replies to the tweet, you had
You
a
can.
third of people saying what you said.
You
You had a
definitely
third of
can.
people saying it is a second wish, and you had a lot of people saying, well, because she made her wish with the stone, and now he's the stone, that she gets a second wish because he's the stone and she didn't get a
Look,
wish from. And I was
Let's
just like,
not
this is too
project
much.
onto people. It's
Okay,
not my
no, that's
fault.
fine. Yeah.
2/3 of people are idiots, and 1/3 of people actually
that's
listen.
fine. That's fine.
Let's move
I'm
on.
just saying, bad writing. Also, I think after a long delay, I had a lot of people say, oh, we waited 2 years for it. Let's just be happy. I think the fact that we waited so long for it, and then most of us got it online, and for people like, okay, me in Canada, I had to pay $35 to rent it. Like, I wanted a good movie, and that's not what I got. Also, if it was like an anti-DC, anti-woman agenda, I would not have paid $35 to waste my money. And I don't think a lot of people would have. I think people compared her to Ryan Johnson, saying that they both subverted expectations. Not really. I don't see that point. I mean, Ryan Johnson did something good and something whatever you think of it. But like, his problem was not subverting expectations. But I don't think that is fair. That's a fair comparison.
Patty Jenkins just did what she wanted, pretty much.
Exactly. I think a lot of Freencky and Antony, you guys brought up Patty's intention with the Egypt scene. And yeah, I'm sure she's not like, racist, Arab, woo, 100%. But the fact that that is what she decided to do, she should not be directing Cleopatra whatsoever,
Yousef,
especially after that. Yes.
Yousef, I see all these points, but half of your points, I think, are not related to the movie itself. You're talking about having to wait 2 years, pay $35.
Well, that is related.
Expectations.
Okay.
Ryan Johnson. I just feel like these are all
Okay.
true.
But
I don't
as
think
I,
Can we
they're
just
wrong.
review Soul?
as I said in the beginning of this, the movie is fine. The conversation that led after is where my problem lies. And a lot of these people don't understand that there are things, the messages are distracting me a little bit. But exactly, that's my point. But these are the things that are continuously thrown at us of, you have to love this movie because A, B, C, D. And I'm telling you, no, we don't because of that. One more thing.
But
Patty Jenkins, and I'm going to end after this. So yeah, she shouldn't do Cleopatra. Also, I think Gal Gadot and Patty Jenkins are a little bit over themselves right now. I mean, I've seen a lot of interviews with Gal Gadot where she's like, we couldn't find an actress for Cleopatra. And she told Graham Norton that Warner Brothers was going to sue him because he revealed the invisible jet. And it's like, both of them are a little bit too big for their boots right now. I think they really pressured Warner Brothers, who has no balls whatsoever, to like do what they want. So it's kind of a mix of people are saying, oh, it's Warner Brothers' faults, whatever. I think it's all of their faults because Warner Brothers needed to say, no, we're going to give you notes and you're going to take them. And I think the other two needed to say, okay, we'll accept the notes and make a better movie. So I think they're kind of being devious and Warner Brothers is kind of being scared. And that's why we got a mediocre film.
So in conclusion, are
yes.
you saying that Patty Jenkins is the new Ava DuVernay?
Yes, 100%.
I don't think 100%, but
Yeah,
she's
at
on
least,
the track.
Twas a joke.
She's
darling.
getting there. She's getting there.
But I don't
So,
think she's
speaking
there
of
because she
people without
actually made.
souls, should we refer to Soul now?
Yes.
Yes.
I think we have. I think the discussion has paused there. I wouldn't say it stopped, but we have
Yeah.
more to talk about
Soul
and more to
time.
get to.
Let's be happy.
So let's be happy, as Yousef
I
said.
never got to talk about Pedro.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Oh no! Sorry,
Do
time's
it.
over.
Oh,
Quiet
We have a time
Coyote.
schedule.
And this is why you forgot to
Natalia.
put my name on the Google Doc.
Hey Natasha, wait your turn. Okay. That's a joke for the audience here. Okay, so let's move over to Soul, which I have to say it wasn't that great. You know, it wasn't that like perfect or grand or as the kids would, like it. I'm a bit I would say it wasn't that bad. It was good. It wasn't that bad. Tina Fey and Jamie Foxx, I have to say, they were a delight. Jamie, I was thinking when I heard that he was actually cast, I was a little bit nervous because I don't really like him as an actor. He's hilarious as a comedian to me, but he sold me in Soul, so I have to take some of that back. I was quite surprised that they shot a lot of scenes, or rather, the animation was on Earth. I thought it would be in the afterworld or the Great Before, whatever it's called. And it was quite hilarious how they were trying to navigate being a cat and being the main character. The animation was top notch. So it makes me kind of sad that I couldn't see it on a big screen. But hey, COVID, what can we do? It was quite, it hit me in the gut sometimes, especially at the piano scene at the end, where he was looking through all the memorabilia, let's say, that 22 left him. That was quite sweet. Even the send off when they were in hand, and the let go of 22, I thought that was that nearly made me cry. I won't lie about that. The ending was quite abrupt. I won't lie. But after thinking about it for a while, I took it as 22 finally taught him that he should live rather than just keep working, and just like breathe and just enjoy life, really. It was way better than Incredibles 2 and Toy Story 4. Those two were disappointments to me. So I would say this is much better, good, heartwarming, and enjoyable. I'll now pass it on to Freencky.
So I actually watched this movie earlier today, and I did enjoy it. it's not one of my favorite Pixar movies, but I did enjoy it for what it was. I really liked the the message on the value of life and second chances. I really liked that. Uh, Again, the animation was great as well. Um, I mean, I really like Toy Story 4, and I feel like I don't know.
I'm
I
with you.
like this movie. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I like this movie, and I like the message, but it wasn't incredible. It wasn't amazing. It was a good movie. It was a good, nice movie to watch, but I probably won't watch it again. Um, but I really enjoyed it for what it was. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Frankie. And we'll go head over to Joseph.
Oh wow, I'm kind of surprised that two people already said that they didn't like love it. Me, I loved it. This is my new favorite movie of 2020. Pixar, you've done it again. What can I say? Joe Gardner is now my new favorite Pixar protagonist. 22, voiced by Tina Fey, was a great, little side character for his little ambitions in life, I should say. Um, there's one thing I should say though. I didn't cry. Like I almost did, like the piano scene and him uh, consoling 22 when she became a lost soul. Uh, like Inside Out made me cry. Coco made me cry. This one just couldn't get there. However, I think this is one of the first Pixar movies that make you think. That's what I admire about it. Yeah, I was expecting the movie to be like follow your dreams, but no, it was actually live your life. This is also a very funny movie, I should say, especially when you look at 22's past mentors. The running joke, I laughed out loud. There's a New York Knicks joke that made me laugh out loud. I don't know if you got it. It was a basketball joke.
Yeah, I didn't get it at first, but I was like, Joseph's gonna like that because sports. But
What else was I say? Uh, I thought the whole body swapping thing was going to be like another Princess and the Frog. What's that Will Smith movie? Where's the spy?
Spies in Disguise.
Superfly. Spies in Disguise. I thought it was going to be another one of those, but it wasn't. I actually think it actually elevated the movie, seeing how 22 living Joe's life and how 22 talks to people and Joe gets a little different perspective of life. I gotta say, I think this is the best human character designs in Pixar history. I think it is. I got nothing but praise for this movie. I love this movie.
As much as I liked it, I thought I was going into it thinking I would cry like Up or Coco, as you mentioned, Joseph, but it didn't. And maybe it's because we're at home, we're not at the cinema. Maybe that wasn't there for us to, maybe the special ingredient to make us cry. Antony, what do you think?
I really enjoyed the film. I liked it a lot. I'm a huge Pixar fan, and so I'm a big fan of Pete Docter's work. Inside Out is one of my favorite movies of all time, probably my favorite animated movie, period. So I'm a huge fan of these people's work. Also, Ken Powers, who co-directed the film, big fan of One Night in Miami, which he wrote. So I want to just get out of the way here first. I would put Soul probably in my top 5 of the year, not at number 1 like Joseph, but probably in the top 5 or number 6. I thought the character design and the art direction was very strong in the film. One of Pixar's boldest films visually. I found the voice work to be exceptional, especially from Jamie Foxx, Tina Fey, who I feel like this may be the most, like, she gets a lot of really great comedy to do, and there's a lot of great comedic moments, but I feel like this is one of her best dramatic like she really sells the dramatic parts of the film very well. I was very not so much surprised because I've always been a fan of Tina Fey, but it was great to see that. I thought this had the Pixar wonder that we've come accustomed to seeing, and I thought its messages were profound. And I think that I'm very happy that this is a movie that kids will watch. I feel like this is a great movie for kids to see and understand. But I do agree with some of the criticisms that have been thrown at the film from our other panelists. I did find the ending a little abrupt, just because I do think the ending kind of cheated, that he gets, spoiler alert for Soul, that he gets to go back. I would have preferred if he became a Jerry, one of those like teachers, because he was a teacher the whole movie. Like that, I thought that was going to be the message, is that music wasn't his passion, it was teaching. So I would have preferred if they did that, so that they don't cheat with the ending. Because in the end, my biggest problem with the movie is I just found the third act to be Inside Out again. Like it down to the main protagonist chasing the secondary protagonist who's upset and wants to forget life, and brings a special object, either that helicopter leaf or the blue core memory, and brings them back into accepting their life. I just found that so redundant, and especially because it's the same director. I was like, I really wanted to know like why he felt that Soul was any different than Inside Out. And I think it's a similar like thing that we've had with this discussion of like, what did Toy Story 4 really do that justified it not being in like Toy Story 3? Like, what's the difference? Why did Toy Story 4 need to happen when you have Toy Story 3? So the ending, I wasn't the biggest fan of the ending, but I still think the rest of the movie is strong. I think it has a lot. It's very personal. And again, everything else, the art direction, the voice work, the score was amazing. Both the score from Atticus Ross and Trent Reznor, and also the jazz compositions by John Baptiste, I think his name. So yeah, again, except for the ending, which I had some gripes with, I think this is a really strong movie. You should definitely seek it out and watch it on Disney Plus.
I'm going to piggyback off of you on that one, Anthony. The ending, as I said, it was abrupt, because I thought it would, like, maybe there would be a flash forward scene of him and 22 meeting. I thought that would have been nice, but he had to let her go at some point. Him being a teacher, I think that would have been better, or just let him end his life. I'm sorry if kids would cry at that, but hey, that's life.
Honestly, that would have made me cry. That would have made it a little better for me.
On the point of the score, and I'll hand it over to Ben after this, I don't think anything, there were moments where it was like a crescendo, and then it was like an M. Night Shyamalan ending, where it was like, it didn't hit me in the feels that much. You know what I'm saying? It was like, oh, it's going to make me cry, it's going to make me cry, and then it's like, oh, you're happy, and I'm like, no, I don't want to be that right now. Anyway, Ben?
I have nothing to add to this conversation. Soul was a good movie. Move on.
Let's go over to Liam.
I think Mrs. Norbury did a lovely job. Like, yeah. I don't want to be that person, but I didn't really enjoy it. I'd literally just finished watching Coco because it was on telly in the UK on Christmas Day, and that's what me and my family decided to watch. And then I put that on, and I was just a bit like, oh, it's a bit of a letdown compared to Coco. That's all. Yeah, I wanted more. I just wanted more from it. Like, is it Richard Ayoade? I wanted more of him. Why did they have that other person? I don't even know who voiced that other person that actually chased him around the earth.
Talking about Terry, not Jerry.
Terry, I didn't like Terry.
House. What?
She was
great.
good.
She was hilarious.
Enjoyable. She was enjoyable. I
That was a
really liked
woman?
her accent.
Yes.
That was
That was voiced by a
Yeah,
woman.
She played
Liam.
Moana's grandma. She was in Thor Ragnarok. She's like in all Taika Waititi's films.
I thought that was a dude. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my god.
I
Way
thought so
to
too.
go,
I
Liam.
thought it was
Yeah.
a guy. I thought it
I
was a
thought-
guy as well.
I thought Terry was a guy this whole time.
Maybe that was the intention of the movie.
Not
But there's
really.
one Jerry that's a woman, right? The very first Jerry that he meets is a woman.
Oh yeah, oops.
Alice
Yeah,
Braga.
Jerry's a
Well,
woman.
Liam-
Gender doesn't exist. Keep talking.
Sorry, gender is a construct. Break it down. I don't know.
Liam, I think we can agree Onward was better.
Onward was better.
Yes.
I love that movie.
Onward was
Agreed.
I
better.
like it too.
Coco was better.
The ending of Onward is, I think, more impactful than the ending of Soul. As much as I like
Yes.
Soul,
Yeah.
I think
I
it has
agree.
more truth to it as well.
There was just a lot of niggly things. Nothing was bad. But I was just like, oh, they did that.
To put it
Um,
more
they
succinctly,
did that.
Liam was bored of the movie.
Yeah, I kind of
Um,
was.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
whoever's next.
Yeah.
Go on
sigh.
with more thoughts.
Natalia.
I'm slightly disappointed that Ben didn't say this. I love how this movie was a mention and a look into the American work culture and how a lot of us are just like driven until burnout and we become depressed. And I thought that was great. I like I don't remember what it was called, but like the lost souls where they're just
The youth seminar.
N-
The youth
No.
seminar.
They,
No, the
they were just
lost-
called
the-
Lost Souls.
Really?
Lost Souls.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. The empty and then the hippie pirate with Graham Norton. That was
Yes,
I-
sorry. I liked
Graham
Graham
Norton.
Norton. Yeah.
Graham Norton. Yep, he saves it. I don't know that I thought that was good. I don't know if I wanted it to be more on there, but I thought it was a good movie. I don't love how once again our black lead is not a black person for a majority of the film.
And Natalia,
I-
how a white person is better at being a black person. Like Tina Fey has a better interactions in the barbershop than the black person does. It's like, I was like, didn't we just do this with Green Book where it's
make
like,
sense.
like we had this conversation. Viggo Mortensen is not a better black person than Mahershala Ali. We did this.
yeah, but-
Why?
Yeah, but
Like,
you know
I-
why? Because all you would do is talk about jazz, right? You talk jazz to the
I-
barber, never talk about life.
I get
Yeah.
that. Maybe because I'm not a cat person.
No, I
did
think
not-
it's
didn't
like,
know that.
I'm that person either, but
Anthony,
I
I think
understood
it was like Joe, as a character, not when it comes to his race, but as a character,
it's
he'd only really
not a
been
race
thinking of
thing.
Yeah.
himself.
It wasn't a race thing, and I don't
It
think
was more of a personality thing.
it
than a
Yeah.
was.
race thing.
Yeah, it was a
Yes.
personality issue rather than a race
Yes,
thing.
it is.
So I don't think it
I
was
agree.
an
Yes,
issue.
it is. I agree. But still, when we got to hear the voice of Jamie Foxx he was either a blue blob or a cat. Much to disappoint about. Hannah and I liked it. It was good. I don't know. I like the message of just like to live life and like live it fully. That I think was great and powerful. I've seen a lot of people saying like, oh, this is totally what we need right now, because you can live very vicariously through this film because you're shut in a lot of the time now because it's a pandemic. So I thought that was great and something to like aspire to once all of this is over within the next year or two. And I don't know, I thought that was good. I wish it could have been, I don't know, I wish it could have been just a wee bit stronger in some aspects. I don't know. Something felt like it was like off. I don't know. I can't really like pinpoint what it was, but something just felt like, I do like the idea that someone, I think it was Antony, that brought up where he should have probably just been a teacher at the end, become a Jerry. That would have been good. Yep. Next.
Yeah, that too. I actually didn't think that was Graham Norton. That flew over my head. I mean, was it that obvious to everyone? Just nod. I mean, don't
Yes.
say anything. Okay.
I thought it was James
He's got a
Corden.
very distinctive voice.
I thought it was James Corden.
I don't think he was Irish to me.
He was.
And
Joseph,
one.
did you just say you thought it
Wow.
was James Corden?
Some
goodness.
Block him.
Anyway,
Kick
okay.
him out.
Joseph
Kick him
off.
out.
Okay. Before
Wait.
we get
Sorry, guys.
dumpster
Joseph's no
fire.
longer a member of the council podcast. If you would all like to send your tweets of dismay, we'll agree with you.
condolences, yes. Do that at the council pod. Anyway, now we'll turn to Yousef, who'll end off this segment.
Here we go.
Yes. Okay. So I
Gird your
really like
loins.
the film. I agree with Joseph. I think it's really strong. I loved, first of all, like the voice cast was good, but the supporting voice cast I thought was really good. Like Alice Braga, she's in a lot of things right now. Graham Norton was great. Richard Ayoade was great. Rachel House was great. I loved all of them. I love the Jerrys in general. The Jerrys were my favorite.
Angela Bassett was amazing.
Angela Bassett, Questlove, I mean, everybody, they were great. I think that there were so many, I think this is Pixar's like deepest movie that they've ever made. Like it really, like Joseph said, makes you think. And I think Pixar's kind of fallen a little bit in their quality, you know, with some of their most recent films, Incredibles 2, Toy Story 4, all that garbage that they were making. And with Onward and now this, since John Lasseter has left, I feel like they're kind of on an uptick a little bit. So this is kind of more like classic Pixar. I think the animation also was gorgeous. I think the ending, I mean, y'all trashed the ending so much. I liked it because I think it was abrupt, because that was the point. It's like, now go live your life. You're done. You went through this experience. Like Joe, you know, live your life. That's what it's all about. That's what I thought.
I wouldn't say it was like trashing. I was just thinking like it was a
I know.
surprise that ended that way.
Yeah. But I like the surprise. I was gonna say something else. I started writing on my hand, but I forgot. Natalia, what did you brought up something and I didn't agree with it. What
American
did you say?
work culture?
No, something else after that.
I think it was
I'm a
about
mess.
the swapping.
Oh,
The-
right.
The body
right.
swapping. the
I
body
think this is
swapping.
different. Exact. I think this is different. I wrote a B, so I didn't know what the B meant. Anyway, body swap. I don't think it's like Princess and the Frog or like Spies in Disguise, because there were a lot of scenes, like flashbacks. There was a lot with Joe, and there was Joe was there a lot of the time. Like I don't think it was a race thing, but we had a black character on screen. We had many black characters throughout, so I think it's a little bit different. Like with those movies, like Princess and the Frog, it was a bunch of frogs and an alligator the whole time, right? And then the last thing is there's just so many scenes here that were just so incredible. Like the scene at the end with the piano, I love that. The scene with his mother when they like pan behind the mom and it goes from the cat talking to Joe talking, but the voice that scene was incredible. I thought the scene with 22 when she's kind of like crouched down and she eats a pizza for the first time, and you know all that, and when she's looking and it just cuts the music and it that and the scene when she's sitting on the steps and it cuts the music and she's just looking at people living their life like they're sitting at a cafe or kids are playing. I thought that was beautiful. So I just think this movie was great, and yeah, Pixar's deepest movie and one of their best, I think. But you know, what do I know?
Don't speak like that, fearless leader. We believe in you and everything you say, Mein Führer.
Hey, that's
You're a
God.
communist household.
So I know I've been saying
Portis.
Quiet Coyote for a long time. And
oh
no
yeah,
one gets what
Quiet
I'm saying.
Coyote. I'm
Quiet
gonna start
Coyote.
Coyote.
Yeah.
No
Oh,
one
quick side
understands,
note.
no one gets it.
There's a little short that was supposed to play in front of this when it went to theaters, but it's just on Disney Plus and no one watched it. It's called Burrow. It's really good. Please watch it. 6 minutes.
Question for the council, and then we can move on. I want to know where everybody thinks. Do we think Pixar, this is their 23rd feature, should they move away from duos? I feel like they've almost done it to death at this point. I feel like we've exhausted the
think
duo.
so.
Yes.
Do what?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, what about we
Yeah.
have Woody and Buzz, Marvin and
Every
Dory,
movie.
All the it's just
Mike and
It's all-
Sully.
yeah. Marlon and
we have
Dory,
Give us-
Joy and
give us-
Sadness.
Give us a solo, because then you'll actually be able to flesh out a full human being.
Well, I hate to tell you this, but
or
Luca's
whatever
gonna be another one.
corporeal object we would like to focus on.
The next film, Luca, is gonna be another one. It's gonna be a duo.
So do it.
Luca
Thank you,
is
Oh yeah, Pixar's Call Me by Your Name.
Pixar's Call Me by Your Name. Ugh.
Everyone, get your
it's how they
peaches
make-
ready.
Yeah. Oh God.
Lord.
It's how they make their movies. I'm not, I love a lot of them. It's just I feel like maybe this is a good chance, with John Lasseter exiting and Pete Docter entering, maybe they try to do trios or single character movies just to do something different.
I
I'm
think it'll work,
thinking-
and I feel like Pete Docter would really thrive in doing that because he, and especially with Inside Out, he felt like it was very character driven, very that was
Mm.
very good and succinct, and love that shit. And yeah, I hope please do that,
Yeah.
Pete.
I mean,
I'm thinking because John Lasseter left and these Incredibles 2 and Toy Story 4 were already in production, I was going to wait maybe give him 3 movies until this new director shows his worth, really. So I'll
Who,
wait
Pete?
until this year. Yeah, Pete.
Pete
aye.
Doctor, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just going to wait and see what these next few movies are going to be until I really make a judgment on if Pixar is going on a downward trajectory or in a positive light. Okay, now we should gloss over Mandalorian 2.
I mean, yeah, Luke Skywalker showed up.
Luke Skywalker.
Average, whatever.
That was great. My only question is, and everyone can chime in just for this, but Grogu left with Luke Skywalker. We know that. Cry, I don't care, Pedro. He's not your son. I think.
Just
will we get
talking about
closure-
found family, Sohail. What do you mean?
Sorry. I'll maybe cut that out. Will we ever get closure or some
I think that was
finality
the
about-
closure.
No, I mean
Yeah.
about Grogu in the present time, at the sequel trilogy. We don't know where he is. Was he at the temple burning?
He's at the salon.
still around.
Look at him.
He's still around. Let's just
Still around.
fingers fucking crossed.
Yeah.
He's
No, I
all
had a-
good. He's had a blowout. He's had his nails done. He's got his scrunchies. He's got his Hello Kitty beret.
He's gonna collaborate
Oh, I
with
see it
Cardi B
now.
or
He's
something.
Wow.
living
Yeah.
life.
He's
Yeah.
drinking soup.
Nah,
Um,
Boba.
Yeah.
Oh.
I
think-
had a theory, but we don't have time, so we can gloss over Mando.
Yeah. It was alright. Yeah. Anyway, that's the.
It was
review of Mandalorian
acceptable.
2. It was
My
alright.
only thing on it, because I've seen a lot of people going obviously mental at the last episode, being like, "Oh my god, it's amazing!" That last episode, the direction, the this, the that. No, if you watched it,
I thought it was fine.
it wasn't. There was a lot of shock and awe, and there was a
Yeah.
lot of "Oh my god,
It
this
was-
has happened! Oh my god, this has happened! Oh my god, this has happened." That doesn't mean it's directed well.
As a non-Star Wars fan who does not give a shit about Luke Skywalker coming back, sure, it was
Or
cool.
Disney.
But or Disney in general, fuck them. But as a regular person just watching The Mandalorian, I thought it was pretty great, to be honest. Because
Yeah.
the show actually won me over with being quality for so long. I thought that this direction matched with the rest of the season, which was overall phenomenal, except for the first 2 awful episodes. The rest of the season was so great that I don't think this finale, I thought it went pretty well above and beyond, but I know a
No.
lot of people were complaining about Peyton Reed.
No.
No,
I thought it was
Yeah.
good. I thought it was
I-
good enough anyway.
No. I agree
Listen,
with
I
Liam
think the whole
because
season-
oh no, go ahead.
Sorry, I think the whole season, this season, was better than season 1, apart from
Yeah.
the
No.
reveal of Grogu.
No.
That
No.
was brilliant. But other
Season
than
1
that,
was
it was kind
awful.
of flat. Yeah.
The last 3
I'll just
episodes
be
of season
positive
1
here.
were
Were
better
great.
than season 2.
Yeah.
I was
No,
just
season
staring
2
at
was
my
much
phone.
better, and I don't know what they're going to do for season 3.
It's gonna be
But-
it's gonna be Boba Fett, isn't it?
But because Grogu may not be in that one, I'm not going to be that invested. I'm sorry
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah,
Love
but
this film.
season 2 wasn't that good. I didn't like this constant
wasn't.
side adventures and meeting a new character to set up a different show. is this a TV
That's
show
what
or
the
is
first
this
season
a
was as well.
But that's what the whole
Not
thing's been.
really?
The
Yeah.
whole
The
fucking show.
first season was just really boring. This one at least had interesting characters.
But it
like
had a
Ahsoka was
story
awesome.
throughout. This is just like, let's go and just do pilot tests for all these different shows and see what works and see what doesn't. It wasn't an
And
actual
that's
show.
what I
See,
think that
I'm
was their
being-
main objective, to be honest with you. I think that's what they've tried to do. I mean, like every episode was like 40 minutes. I mean, I hate that, and I hope Kevin Feige, like took some notes for WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and made it as a TV show, not like a
Well,
sitcom.
Sohail, to be fair, if WandaVision is supposed to be, playing with the sitcom tropes, it could be
when I mean
sitcom length.
When I meant sitcom, excuse me, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, yes, they're going to be in different time periods. Yeah, that's true. Sorry, my mistake. But I'm saying that, like a kids show, every episode doesn't connect.
Yes.
And I feel like the only connecting factor
connectivity.
was he had the world, and this was a season 1 problem as well. So I don't think Disney, well, that's their only show at the moment, has gotten a hold on how to do that well and how to interconnect everything. If anyone else wants to say something, please say it now before we move on to Frankie's segment.
I was just gonna say.
Just really.
Oh no! Okay, no, go ahead.
just really quick, because I kind of I feel like I agree with everybody with this. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and
we know.
Personally, it was cool to see Luke Sky. Yeah, we know. It was cool to see Luke Skywalker, but I did have a problem that, like, when everybody left the season finale of The Mandalorian.
It's not nice. Sorry, I'll mute.
No, you're fine. I had a problem that when we left the season finale of The Mandalorian and Grogu were like the third most important part of that episode. Like, everybody was talking about the Darksaber and Bo-Katan and Luke. Like, I feel like I enjoyed the show. I loved the show. I found it something to look forward to every week, especially now in the pandemic. I thought this was such a technically, like, really well done show. How they did it, especially in a pandemic, was crazy. The score continued to be amazing. Ahsoka Tano was great. I enjoyed it. I just feel that I don't know if in 20 years I'm going to be praising the story and the themes of The Mandalorian, which I feel is a major part of what makes Star Wars Star Wars. It is the story, it is the themes. I feel like just because they had cool characters, it doesn't make it a great story, even if I did enjoy it. It was something that for 30 minutes every week I enjoyed, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, I agree. I think last time we discussed it, you guys say like there's no story. I think there is a story. It's basically Mando trying to get Grogu to his home planet, or to whoever who he feels the safest to take care of him. Even though it is going from point A to point B to point C. If you're not a fan of that, I think you're just not gonna like the show. Unlike me and Anthony, love the show. I love the show too, Anthony, by the way.
Are you talking about season 2 being connected?
Yes.
Because I've been watching Schitt's Creek, and that's more connected episode to episode than The Mandalorian. I mean,
I thought it was connected, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's more of not of a like a Schitt's Creek show, but more of a Rebel show, and Star Wars, the Clone Wars, which I think that segment of the fan base, which I'm part of, to be honest. Like, I grew up obviously with the prequel trilogy, but also Star Wars, the Clone Wars, and I got those elements in it, which I was quite happy about. But it can't be compared to a movie like Last Jedi. No matter how much people hated the prequels, that's still the storyline. Like, you can't. It's apple and oranges, to be honest. Anyway, I'm going to move it on.
Hold on. Sorry.
Frankie.
I'm gonna stop you.
No. Okay.
So,
what happened to glossing over the Mandalorian, guys?
Yeah, we started talking about it. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna I'm gonna cut a lot of this portion, especially my portion for the Mandalorian, because I'm just gonna ramble, and then also the Wonder Woman stuff, and I'm gonna make it like see the uncut on YouTube, and then the pod will. So don't worry about time. Just time everything. We'll just go on whenever, and I'll cut it. Okay. So you better
not cut Freencky and like the two. Like
oh no! Yes,
I won't do that. Just to make sure. Okay.
Guys,
Frankie.
Wait! Before we get to Frankie's, I
I still want to talk
Variety
about
as
Mando.
of sorry, no, Variety
yeah,
as
go
of an hour ago.
She said no.
Shut up. Variety as of an hour ago wrote and published a most anticipated movies coming to 2021. So
Interesting.
They're
All
bought and
done.
paid
Let's
for
get
by
to it.
corporations, so
Yeah.
we're more honest.
That's
Okay.
true.
So, Mandalorian, couple things. Number one, to what Liam said, I agree with him because, you know, when I was watching the episode, I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. Luke Skywalker and the Darksaber and everything. And then afterwards, because I had a 15-hour shift, so I was just sitting there, I started thinking and I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. And like, how does this work with the timeline that they've established? And where's Grogu in the new timeline? So I think there's a lot of, they just went for shock value instead of like actually making a story that would fit within the timeline. So I think that was the main
Well, here's the
problem
thing with the
for me.
timeline. People generally don't like the new timeline with the new trilogy.
Yeah,
so
but
I think they're like,
whether they like
fuck
it or
it.
not, like you should have
Whether they like it or
come
not,
up
it's
with something
established.
that makes sense. Yeah, it just didn't
Fair enough.
make
And also,
sense.
people hated the prequels when they came out. I guarantee you in 15 years, we're going to get the same admiration for the sequels that we did for the prequels. Star Wars is the most
Maybe Last
finicky
Jedi.
fan base.
Maybe
for
Last
the Last Jedi, yeah. For the
Heck
rest
to
of
the
them, no
yeah,
way.
Antony.
People consider Revenge of the Sith the best Star Wars movie. I guarantee you people will defend all three and Solo and
Not all
Rogue
three.
One.
Actually,
Yes,
you're
not all
I
three.
guarantee you they
Rogue
will.
think
One.
Solo,
And
Rogue
People
One,
said
and
this.
Last.
People said this back then that no one can defend the
Yeah.
prequels. People now defend the prequels.
Yeah.
It's just what happens. People
Yeah.
grow up having never seen any of them,
Fair.
and then
Yeah,
their
hello.
first interaction is the new ones, the newest ones. So they go on and think, well, no, I prefer them. So it just happens. Also, Freencky, what did you think? Because you, bless your heart, you haven't actually said a thing for
I
Mando.
know.
I don't. I
he's
tried to watch the
didn't
first
watch it,
episode
right?
of season
Yeah.
1 back last year, and I can never get into it. I'm not a Star Wars
bad,
fan.
yeah.
I mean,
Oh, well done.
the
Well, there you
only
go.
movie that I've seen that's Star Wars is Rogue One, and it was
Yeah.
great, but I haven't.
That was fantastic.
It was good.
That's
So-
good. I'm glad you watched that, Frankie. Because
Yeah.
here's one other thing. Oh goodness.
Yousef, what the hell do you have to say?
Nothing.
Yes,
I
Yousef,
was just
yeah.
gonna say,
I'm
okay,
saying
Sohail,
Yousef.
Sohail, you say your thing. Joseph, you had something, and then I'm gonna share my theory, and I'll cut it out because it's dumb. But I
don't
just
care
wanna
about your
share
theory.
it. Okay, fine. I,
I mean,
won't share my theory. Sohail, Joseph,
that-
and then we'll go.
Okay, Joseph first, then me, because I'm gonna pass over to Frankie after I say. Over to you, Joseph.
I was about to say, people didn't like the direction. I love the direction of this season finale. Kane Reed surprised the hell out of me. He went from shooting no action in Ant-Man and the Wasp to have a ton of action here. Makes me more excited for Ant-Man and the Wasp 3, Quantum Medium. No?
Well, yes, I think the direction in this season was much better than the first season. But for a TV show, I don't care who directs it. I just want to know what happens, and that for movies and like big screen, or maybe like let's say mini dramas, I think direction is key. And on the point of when we grow up, we'll look at these movies and TV shows and say, "Oh, it was much better than I thought it'd be." Rewatching it. I remember growing up watching the prequels first, and I didn't know really who Luke Skywalker was or Leia. And when I watched the originals, like 10 years ago or maybe more, I'm quite old, but whatever. And when I started to watch them, I was like, this is quite bad because I didn't grow up with it. But then it takes time to gel and say, okay, I understand why people like it. And, I think that's the key. It'll take time for people to get used to what they have in front of them.
Oh, hey, thanks for watching. And remember, full episodes are available wherever you get your podcasts.
With new episodes Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, links in the description box.
And be sure to subscribe and hit that bell to stay caught up to date with the Council.
Boys, I'm excited.